Do you identify as a perfectionist or a high achiever? If so, stick around. We're going to dive into the 3 root causes of perfectionism and high achievement and why and how they manifest. Hi, I'm Erica Larson. I am a trans angelic channel, a psychic energy healer, coach, and hypnotherapist. I also teach and instruct people how to do what I do. In today's healing theme, we are going to unpack the 3 root causes of perfectionism and high achieving. So let's dive in. First, let's unpack shame, because shame is a really interesting squirrely emotion. I've seen this a lot this week where shame is the emotion. It's always behind, if you listen to Brene Brown, she has lots of information on this. Shame is the emotion that we actually don't really know is in there. Like, we hide from it, we run from it. The way that I've seen it kind of portrayed this week in my clients is that shame is almost like behind you. Like, imagine standing in line at a grocery store and somebody standing too close to you, like has walked up behind you and is in your bubble, and you're like wanting to move forward away from that person. That's like shame. Like, imagine shame is creeping up behind you and you're like, oop, I'm gonna step forward. I'm gonna take a step forward. I'm gonna step away from this emotion. And that is how I see shame show up for a lot of people. So they avoid the emotion, it's really buried. When it starts to creep up is when we take an action. And the action is usually a result of trying to avoid that shame, and we can become like high achievers and kind of lean into control, trying to control outcomes and take action. And I see this a lot in my female clients. I think that the masculine might respond to shame a little bit differently, but I see this as a theme with women, with the female client. So shame is definitely a part of what is going on here, and it can be hard to get to the root origin of where shame is coming from and where this perfectionist, high achievement, control coping mechanism is coming from, because it is a symptom of something else. Part 1, perfectionist manifestations, how this symptom shows up. And this one might be a little bit uncommon. This is like the top performers. Those of you that are top performers and are high achievers and or self-proclaimed perfectionists or control freaks, this one's for you. And so oftentimes the top performers will actually feel like a little bit of imposter syndrome. They're faking it till they make it. Like, they actually might know the most in the room. They actually might be the expert, but they doubt that they are. They doubt that they know the most. They have self-doubt, all right? This is because they're usually the one who's picked on the most in their arena. And that could be like a good example that I was using with a client earlier today is the top dancer in the dance class gets the most feedback. And that's because the person in authority, the teacher, the instructor, the boss, whatever that authority is, that person is seeing the potential in that top performer and giving them the tweaks, the 10%, like fix this, fix this, fix this, fix this. And they always feel like they're being picked on. They feel like they're not enough. They feel like they're never arriving. They're, the dog in the Grinch movie with the carrot dangling out in front of them. And they feel like they never arrive. And it's really frustrating. And that's what creates the self-doubt. But when it comes down to it, they actually are the ones that are the expert in the room. They actually are the ones that are the top performer. And because of that, they oftentimes get the most feedback and they have the most insecurity around their performance. So if this resonates with you, definitely there's a perspective shift here of you not being good enough and needing that external validation to make you feel like you are enough, to recognizing, hey, I am the exception. I am the one with the expertise in this setting, and I'm receiving the most feedback because I have the most potential, and I get to choose. So this is where your empowerment comes in. I get to choose if I'm going to receive and take in that feedback and put out the effort, right? The energy effort into that extra 10% that I am being encouraged to make by XY, by this person. It gives you a sense of, it puts you in a place of power, not a place of self-doubt and insecurity. And so this is definitely, if this resonates with you, share your feedback below. As those of us that feel like we are the imposter syndrome, I see this correlation often because of the level of feedback and critiquing that you're getting. And it's actually because you're like the top 90th percentile in your area of expertise, and not because you're actually not good enough. Part 2, parentified child. We see this a lot. This shows up in birth order. This shows up in trauma. This is where a child was having to take on the role of an adult, having to take on the role of the parent. And it could be because the parents were out working and they're the oldest child and that was a birth order situation. It could be that there is a dysfunctional parent, that there is an emotional or mental imbalance, and that child had to suppress their needs and learn how to fend for themselves and to take care of things because the parent wasn't functioning fully and able to show up in that stable role. The third example under parentified child is when there is a situation or dynamic where there's somebody in the family with high needs. And this may not be the parent, this may be another sibling. And this came up again in another client session where there's neglect of the child who is okay, of the kid who they didn't need to worry about. And that child often has to adult. They have to figure things out for themselves. They have to fend for themselves because the attention is all going focused to the child with the high needs or there's a situation where there's a high need where a lot of the attention and focus is being drawn over and taken at in this other outlet, and the other child gets to fend for themselves. Okay, they need to be the one that's okay. They need to adult. They need to have it together. They can't express, themselves to the degree that this child over here is. And so there becomes neglect here in the situation. That's definitely an aspect of this. And then the other aspect is they're being parentified, right? They are having to be a miniature adult and have it all together, and they are kind of robbed of their childhood. All of these situations are kind of being robbed of their childhood because they're being held to these higher standards either out of necessity or a betterment situation of like, oh, you are a top performer and we're going to have higher expectations for you instead of letting you just be a kid. So if that resonates with you, would love to hear your comments below. Definitely tell us your story if you're willing, share, because we grow and we connect over stories and they're really powerful. So please do share yours if you feel called. Common symptoms of the type 2 parentified child are to feel an immense sense of pressure on you. Like there's this pressure of feeling like everything is on your shoulders. You just feel like you are drowning under like a weight or being buried under like a boulder. Like you just feel like you have so much pressure on your shoulders. Another symptom of being a parentified child is this deep sense of grief. And this was probably very unconscious, deep sense of grief of like being robbed of your childhood. There's like a longing there to play. It might be a workaholic. You might just really be dedicated to achieving and like, oh, I need to find the work-life balance. I'm getting burnt out in my career. And I have this grief of like feeling like I kind of lost my childhood. Like I didn't really get to be a carefree kid. And so my recommendations for the parentified child is to absolutely work towards finding work-life balance, work towards embracing those carefree moments and like engaging in life from a balanced place, from a place where you're not going to the extreme of, let's say, addiction, but you're going into like play and carefreeness and actually getting to allow yourself to be present in your day and to find things that you enjoy that you get to do just for the joy of it. That's what you would have gotten as a child is to have been able to be joyful and carefree. And that's a little bit of what is missing. And so there's grief around that of missing out on your childhood as you were having to adult and be serious. Third root cause of the high achievement perfectionist shame dynamic is the developmentally misunderstood child. So I see this in clients whose parents were highly critical of them and they felt a deep sense of rejection because they were being held to a level of functioning that was beyond their developmental stage, beyond their developmental ability at that age. And so the parent here does not understand or respect the stage of development that child is currently at. And so they are projecting onto that child the expectation to do more, to be more, to function better when they do something wrong, then when they make a mistake, when they don't know something. They are criticized, they might be humiliated, they might be shamed. I think this third part is where we feel the most shame. If you've experienced this is where you feel highly neglected, more than neglected, it's highly rejected. That's what you feel. You feel highly rejected and there's a lot of shame of feeling like you just aren't enough. right? That's probably what is going on in the background. I'm not enough, and it's coming from this sense of criticism and this expectation that is unrealistic for your age. This can lean into abuse. So if this is a dysfunctional parent, this parent could be humiliating you, this parent could be berating you and belittling you, especially in public or in front of other family members, and that gets really ugly. That can create some incredible avoidant tendencies where this person, it's like, I'm not safe in relationships, I'm not safe with these people, and I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy of love. This can get really deep and insidious and create a lot of kind of branched out issues within the subconscious of that child and or adult, because this is coming from, I see all of these perfectionist high achievement patterns that go back to childhood. Like this is where, like, it always in my experience starts in childhood. And this one, this third one here with the criticism, is actually the one that I identify with most. If you also identify with this or any of the other examples of the high achievement perfectionist root causes, please comment below. Let us know, like, share your story. You know, we heal by being witnessed, we heal in community. And so if this is something that resonates with you and you want to share your experience, please definitely feel like this is a safe space. And please like and subscribe if you are new here so you can be kept in the know of upcoming content as it is created. If you would like me to dive deeper into any of these 3 root causes of the perfectionist high achievement dynamic, please let me know, and I'm happy to create more content around this. I'm Erica Larson. I am a transangelic channel. I'm a psychic energy healer, a coach, many things. I also teach what I do. So I teach healers and instruct them in certification how to do what I do. I also help develop intuitive abilities in students that want to learn how to channel or develop their psychic intuition. So information on those are in the links below. Thank you for stopping by.